Okay, Whovians, here's a question for you. What do you get when you cross Sylvester McCoy with a cheap blonde wig? Answer, a really bad regeneration scene.
Leave the girl. It's the man I want. Take him to my laboratory.
Now, this story was the start of the Sylvester McCoy era, if you could call 2 years an era, because that's when the show got cancelled in 1989. Now, it came at the end of a really tumultuous time for Doctor Who, and poor Colin Baker got really badly treated by the BBC, and I'll get into that in another video, okay? But basically, Colin Baker refused to come back and film a regeneration scene, and I don't blame him in the slightest. So they basically stuck a wig on Sylvester McCoy and filmed him from the back lying on the TARDIS floor, because the basic story is that the Rani, who we met previously in The Mark of the Rani, has the need for the Doctor, and she captures the TARDIS in a time sort of tractor beam kind of thing, which buffets the TARDIS here and there and knocks out Mel, the companion, and the Doctor. And when the TARDIS finally lands, the Rani walks into the TARDIS and says, "Leave the girl, I just want the man." And they turn him over and he regenerates into Sylvester McCoy. Pardon me. Now, this story was written by Pip and Jane Baker, who actually created the Rani, and as I said, she first appeared in The Mark of the Rani, and she's another Time Lord, and she's not evil per se as the Master. The Master is just, I want to control the universe, I don't care what I do. She is more amoral. Her whole purpose for being is her scientific experiments. I will achieve my, goals with this experiment that I'm doing and blow the costs. If people die, well, they die. They're just collateral damage. And that's sort of a little bit too much like the Master in some respects, but you've got to give it. Kate O'Mara is just wonderful. She was the Rani. Now, basically, the story involves that the Rani is on the planet Lacertia, and she's taken the Lacertian's leader captive, and she's threatened to kill him if the planet's inhabitants don't obey her. And he's trapped in this, I know what she's doing is evil, but I have to go along with it because my people will suffer. And her whole plan is that there's an asteroid approaching made of strange matter. Now, in case you think that's scientific gobbledygook, it's not. Pip and Jane Baker are really good about actually doing scientific concepts that were genuine. And strange matter is a scientific term, okay? It refers to something I actually haven't done research on Whovian, so forgive me. But she's planning on creating a time manipulator. And what her plan is that she will be able to create a time manipulator and change time anywhere in the cosmos. And she can, like make the dinosaurs, the dominant species on Earth, and humans never evolve. Or she could, change the history of another planet. It's her little plaything. But to do that, she needs the most scientifically and mathematically gifted geniuses from all across time and space, and she's actually captured them and using their minds, including Einstein, and she needs the Doctor to help her build this machine. Now, the problems with this story is the concept is great. I can understand the concept, okay? It's just we had problems from the start because of the hiatus. Nicola Bryant, who played Perry, was no longer involved in the show. She didn't sign another contract. So we got this hastily cobbled together character of Mel Bush. And she was basically, all we knew about her was that she was a computer programmer from Pease Pottage, and she was into healthy food, and she wanted, to help the Doctor, lose weight. The Colin Baker Doctor, okay? Was she a good companion? No way, because she was a typical screamer. We'd left all that sort of behind in the 60s, where you see monsters and you just scream. And that's all basically Mel did through this, was scream, run away, run into someone to get captured, then run away again. And then there was also the scenes where she was with, when she saw the Doctor and he'd regenerated. You're not the Doctor. Well, yes, I am. And so, as a companion, generally, she was rubbish. Okay, and that's pretty much well agreed on with, fellow Whovians that I've talked to. Another thing that was really cringeworthy, okay, was that the Rani gave the Doctor an amnesia drug, so his post-regeneration trauma and forgetfulness would basically be extended. And she dressed herself up as Mel, which was really horrible. I mean, Mel's outfit was woeful, but it was the 80s and it was bleh. Anyway. But to see Kate O'Mara, with this flaming curly red hair, was just diabolical. But on the positive side, Sylvester McCoy, even though he was going through post-regenerative shock and everything, he was delightfully, sort of absent-minded. He tended to be fond of using quotes and sort of aphorisms and that sort of thing, and he'd say things like, too many cooks, gather no moss, and things like that. And the Rani would get really cheesed off with this because his mind would wander onto different things. But the problem I had was with the Tetraps, which were basically Rani's minions. Now, they were like giant bats and, life-size human bats. They had wings, and I just, from the get-go, I could not believe that something that big with these tiny wings would aerodynamically be able to get off the ground. But we saw them hanging from cave roofs and so forth. Now, I just thought they were there basically as the Rani's grunt, as the Rani's workhorse. And for those of you like me who remember back in the classic era, the Daleks had a similar sort of minion, the Ogrons, who were sort of like Neanderthal, sort of ape-like creatures who were really stupid and just did whatever the Doctor, the the Daleks used to order them to, which, like, they're Daleks, you're not going to like say, oh no, stuff you. But yeah, I just found them unbelievable. I didn't find the character design really well done. They just look like men in horrible rubber furry suits. So anyway, of course, the Rani is defeated. The Tep traps, she escapes, tries to escape in her TARDIS, and the Tep traps are there waiting for her, and they're going to take her back because they've discovered that, you know, she was just going to leave them there. The whole planet was going to be destroyed to create this time manipulator, and she was quite happy to leave them there. And they've said, oh yes, we'll still follow you, mistress, but you'll come back with us, and you'll be back on our world. So she was left hanging upside down. And it's really interesting because Kate O'Mara loved that character. She really loved playing the Rani, and the Rani actually appeared in some novelisations, and she was mentioned a few times. Now, just before her death in 2014 from ovarian cancer, Kate O'Mara asked the producers of Big Finish Audio, you know, look, I'd love to do another Rani. How would you feel about having me back? And they said, wonderful, great. So they got a story all organised for Kate O'Mara. But she didn't make it, unfortunately. But the trooper that she is, she said before she died, find someone else to do it, okay? And I think that's just wonderful. That's such a generosity of spirit as an actress, and you know, a wonderful lady. And that's one of the good things about the Rani. She's a time lady, or a time lord if you want to be gender neutral. So if we ever do get to see her back on screen, she can be played by anyone, just like the Doctor can be played by anyone, and the Master. So that was really good. I thought that was a wonderful story that just almost had me in tears, actually, Whovians. So that was it. That was the story that was the start of the Sylvester McCoy era. And there's a lot of comparisons. People always tend to compare him to Patrick Troughton because he was this funny little man with the baggy trousers and the suspenders and the hat. But he did bring his own take onto that, okay? And we'll get into that a little bit later when we do some more stories from Sylvester McCoy's era. Okay, well, that's it from me, a wrap-up of Time and the Rani. Now, this is the last, I don't mean the last of Classic Whovian, but this is the last of the Classic era Doctor's first stories. Can you believe that? We've only been on for just over a week and we've covered all the Doctors. Now, we'll be doing some other great stories. We're going to be looking at the best monsters, the best companions, the worst companions, as I've mentioned before, the best scenes from Doctor Who, and some of the best speeches the Doctor has ever given. So that's all to look forward to. So if you don't want to miss out on any of that, don't forget, hit the subscribe button and the like button, and you'll make sure that you get notified when we upload our new videos. Well, that's it from me, Time Lord Myth. I'd love to know what you thought, basically, of this story in the comments below. Okay, now it's quite universally panned, and there are actually some YouTubers here, some Whovian YouTubers, who actually sort of defend it a little bit, and I can see their point of view because they don't defend it, you know, universally. Everything about it was wonderful, but they do defend parts of it that were good, just like I have. So let me know if you've seen it. Let me know in the comments below. What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? Are you interested in seeing, if you're a new time viewer to Classic Who, are you interested in actually seeing the first story that Sylvester McCoy appeared in? Let me know in the comments. Well, that's it from me, Time Lord Myth, and as I always say, I'll see you again soon, somewhere in time and space. Bye for now.